first one is about a new presentation. The new presentation is political, non-religious, non-spiritual, non-philosophical. Yet becoming aware turns one against the political and social status quo. And leads one to rebel against the half-truths and the hollowness of religious pronouncements and texts, and even makes one what I can term a quasi-philosopher. Let me say, you become a new sophist. So, Duane, how can we reconcile these paradoxes? That the new presentation is apolitical, non-religious, non-spiritual, non-philosophical, yet becoming more aware turns one into an eternal rebel, and also gives one some knowledge which is rare, which is in which, when contrasted to traditional philosophical theorems or practices, makes one look like a new sophist. So how can you reconcile these differences, these paradoxes?
Well, again, Charles, it's funny, the assumptions that you've considered, and that is that it's really none of those. And that is very simple. It would appear to be that, which is understandable. It's kind of like this. We have voting, and you have the right to vote. Isn't that wonderful? They've given you, whoever it is, the right to vote, as an example. And they tell you that, too. It's like, oh, you don't vote? You have the right to vote. But they don't tell you that you have the right not to vote. You have to figure that out for yourself. I figured that out for myself. I also have the right not to vote, okay? And so certain people would see that as, well, you're rebelling against the system. You don't agree with the system. You're anti-system. Is that it? See, again, people start assuming things, just like what Vallis went through the college. Just by his very actions. We're just putting on an event there about children in the natural environment, all of a sudden, and a press release. Just a little press release about a 96-year-old lady that's attending online classes, and now they started an investigation. That was the first one. And they have an attitude. It's like, it's almost like, when they see him, it's like, get out of here. We're doing an investigation on you. And so the same thing is with this. It's really rather humorous because, again, we're in time and space. And in time and space, there is agitation here. Cause and effect creates agitation. And so this is what you need to recognize too, or you don't. And you keep using these same ideas that really don't work. In other words, here, it's very simple. It's like the sun shining. You simply recognize your agreements. That's all we're doing. You simply recognize your agreement. It's like a person that has voted all their life. And now they recognize, they do a little reading, they do a little research, and now they start to see, it's not only what you read. When you read something, it's like, oh, this is a conspiracy and the government's doing the chemtrails or whatever. It's not only about what you read, is it? It's about at a certain point, you recognize that, oh, yes, it's not about the facts and figures. You recognize what's going on. And when I was very young, over 30 years ago, 35, it's almost 40 years ago, probably was in my 30s, when I went through this tax program and learned about the Federal Reserve and the banking system, the real banking system, not the fake one we have out here, the front, I'll say, okay, the fronts that are created, which are fine, everything's fine. And you know what? I started to read the material and I recognized what was going on with the system. I had fun with that too. I was telling some of my ex-friends, whatever, they didn't get it. But I saw it right away. I was to be shown this because it was preparing me for the future. And so that was a step too. And so all those things that you've commented on, again, you become like a philosopher. No, we're not. I don't see myself as a philosopher. It's being real is how I see it. Just being wonderfully real. And it's really, it's up to the individual to recognize the restrictions that they've agreed to. That's all. Or don't. That's it. There's no rebellion. This is what's so cool about it. There is no rebellion. There's no revolution. There's an evolution, but there's no revolution going on. And there's no rebellion at all. It's an isness to be recognized. And so again, this is where it becomes over-described. And this is where people start to take into consideration. This is where they see us as a cult. Okay, we're just talking about the all-natural environment here. Now all of a sudden, oh, you're a cult. Okay, well, what is the definition of that? Well, I defined cult too. I did a group called CULT. Okay, creative, universal, learning tree. I think I called it something like that. Maybe Kelsey knows. I described that. I did that for the fun of it. And actually, one of the people that left the group for a while, she saw that and she gave me an email, said, "Oh, Duane, you're just doing the same old ploy. You always redefine things and you do the same old ploy." And she was real pissy. And then it was about a week later or something, I forget. All of a sudden, the email is entitled "Apologies." She had a real side experience that showed her something. She totally apologized. And then she bought one of the books again. And so we sent her several because she really kind of overpaid for it, but that's fine. But, it's rather humorous, But you see, the reason that I'm okay with all of this is because I really sincerely do see the struggle that people go through to get here. All these lifetimes, all these brutal lifetimes to get here. And look at what we're in. We're in a dump. We live on the earth that can be awesome, but it's a dumping ground. And we live in poison and trash and microwaves every day. This place is a dump, and it's getting worse every single moment. And who will step up to have the courage? What else value is there? So again, yes, we're labeled that. And again, I would stand up to it, but it's your choice. I'm fine with whatever people throw at me. I'm fine. But I'm not that. I'm the sun shining, and even better than that, because I decided, you see. And so it's really when the individual is ready to face their own restricting agreements. There's no rebellion going on. But, again, these are individuals that, support the system that they think is supporting them when actually it's them supporting the system. And those that rule the system are misusing their labor to be supported by. It's very interesting how it works and how you see it and how you figure it out. But as people do, but again, at the same time, yes, they have their job, they have their position. But again, you decide how you're going to work in or out of that or around it or however it is. You have to decide that. And this is just how it is here. I don't look for comfort. And I'm not comfortable here. And it's not that I like or dislike myself. That's not it. I see the preciousness of my real awareness superseding everything. It's just that, and to where eventually the personal self, just like the sun coming out through fog, it's gone. And it's all just isness, a total view, an allness view with the whole of life. It's so awesome. I see it already. But I must go through the process with the personal self, just like the just like the caterpillar through the process of the cocoon eventually leaves it all behind. So again, I'm not looking to leave the body. I'm not looking to go to the real universes. There's no such thing. There's not a higher or lower. There's not going anywhere. It's so cool. It's recognition. It is a recognition. And this is where people miss it, the higher and lower. And most of these people that go to the higher worlds, okay, they're just going to the astral realm. They're going to some beautiful place in life, which is fine. But you still don't have the recognition of the isness. All these experiences that people had in Paul's day and through, and many of those individuals are still here and still in the corporation, they never recognized it. It's a recognition. It's not the experiences that they had. This lady that was with us for a few days or so, or a week or so, she had experiences with Rebazar when she was young. And I listen to these people and I give them a chance. But right now, she has no focus. So again, people have experiences, but it's the recognition and how they demonstrate and what they do now, you see, right now. And so it's time to step up to the challenge like never before of what's taking place on this planet. I think it's great. I love it. I love the whole challenge. I'm into things that most people have no idea what's going on, but I'm there. I'm 100% there for whatever takes place on the planet to confront it all, and even galactically, and then through all of creation. Yeah. So Val has the university, and he has the Orange Coast College. You have Africa. Well, I'll just take care of the rest. Yes, because I've decided it to be so. But this is the cool thing, Charles. There's you don't see. You're with the new presentation here. From what you see of it, is there a rebellion going on? Is there a denial? Is there an anti-anything? You see? No, there's none of that. But people throw these statements. Again, people are marketed, and they're open to the agreement of their microwave brainwashing to where they say these things. That's their choice. Very few people will step up and face themselves and recognize their agreements. That's all it is. It's just whatever you decide to agree to and stand real with. It's just that simple. It's none of these other things. So we got to make a few statements here, like we're not political, religious, or whatever, so people get an idea. So the first thing that usually many times pops up is, oh, you're anti-establishment. We've made the statement, I make it many times, I'm for the all-natural environment supporting all of us. Just like the birds. I like the birds and cats, kitty cats. These individuals, they know what's going on. Are they anti-establishment? I don't see to where they are. So again, this is what humans decide. That's why the world is like it is and self-destructing, because people keep deciding that they just want to destroy everything, and they're in agreement with it. So, again, they decide to recognize their agreement or not. I would say that we're awesomely unique with what we're presenting here. Yes. It's an opportunity like nothing else to be recognized, but most people push it away. Look at them at the college. If they could, legally carry baseball bats there when Val's coming around, I'm sure that they would use them. So the thing is that, and say that they had to defend themselves because, he's in the area. Whatever it is, this is how defensive people get, because they're afraid. They're afraid to face their agreements. Okay, fine. Have fun. So, I define it the best I can, and appreciate you asking the questions because it prompts it. And like what Val's going through at the college, these people are providing an experience for us to let them know and to actually show them how restricted they are if they decide to wake up and recognize it. So again, yes, it's none of those things, Charles. It's just simply agreement. That's all it is. You decide. Shine like the sun, or agree to what the world has created. Yeah. And be controlled by it. Everybody has a choice. Go ahead.
Okay, then. I have this Okay, the world is awash now with revolutions, arms, military upheavals, as people want to do something about their physical freedom. They are pitted against the authoritarians and controllers, and they decide to fight it out. Now, the new friend is placed in a delicate position, walking the razor's edge. Should he sit in his ivory tower of awareness, just pontificate about standing up to challenge the status quo? Or should he do something wonderful by taking to the field of battle and fighting to the death? So what do you say about this, Duane?
What would you do, Charles? You're an educator. You're out there. You're asking the question. What would you decide to do? Okay, so the world is as it is. So what are you deciding to do, Charles?
Yeah, in fact, I decided to fight.
I'm watching the series. I'm watching the series right now. It's very interesting, actually. It's a heavy load for me. I see that, but at the same time, I take it on and it wears me out. But I watch these series on Netflix. I've watched so many of them, movies, etc. I watch the most dastardly stuff. Yes, bloody, gory, whatever. This one's called The Badlands, and it's very, very good. Yeah, it's very, very good in its own way. And for me, I see that any battle is not it. It's not about the battle. We're not battling OCC. They're coming to us. Okay, all we have to do is show up. They're coming to us. Okay, is what they're doing. They're constantly coming. They started you might say the battle or the insinuations and the investigations. They started that. We didn't start that. We showed up to present something that makes sense. And so again, it's how you see it. And I've described this too in some of the books and whatever, especially book 2, where in the real universes, it was the Green Lantern, the real Green Lantern. And this is very interesting because we're in the era of the superheroes, the Superman, Green Lanterns, the Iron Man, all these things. And I've always been a comic book fan. I've always liked the so-called fantasy of these things, which are very real. But I see it in a particular way. And the real Green Lantern has no power. There's no power in the real universes. In time and space, there is this aspect of power, like energy we have in our wall. You know, you touch the socket and you get shocked. Okay, so we think of that as power. Okay, and that's what we see in a lot of the movies, magical stuff, the this and that with the hands and the thought forms and etc., mind control and all these things. This power aspect, and people can't get beyond that. But the idea of the real Green Lantern, because I like Green Lantern, Superman, whatever, is that no. The real Green Lantern has the ring, but it's not about that. He cannot be touched. He doesn't do the tricks that the Hal Jordan does. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. Doesn't do all the tricks and the manipulation. No. It's not about that. And so again, it's seen more than what is going on in creation, because people in creation, overall, it's not about good or bad in creation. We've been brought up with that. It's not that things are good or bad. Creation is what it is. It's recognizing, that everybody has to go through the process of creation. You have to go through it. You need this. This sparks you to recognize. And so it's seeing it from that position. And again, and it's choice too. It's choice. It's free will. You have to see it from that position also. And that is that if the person is willing okay, that's one thing. But if they're not, and they make the choice, like the Queen of Orion, we gave her the opportunity, okay, and would back her, and she would have all of her kingdom, everything that she's had and rules over and has stolen. Okay, you can have it all because it's not important. All right, it's not important compared to the whole of life. But her arrogance was more important. Her personal arrogance was almost at 100%. 100% arrogance, not 10 or 20, 100%. She was so adamantly arrogant that she was willing to sacrifice everything that she had accumulated and experienced and earned within her real awareness that she didn't recognize for millions of lifetimes, because her arrogance came first. It's her choice. And so she's put in the phantom zone for good until she goes back to an atom and starts over, which she may have done many times, all of us. Doesn't matter. See, the process continues on. This is just how it is. This is where life makes sense to itself. And so whatever is necessary to have that be so, okay, it's more so than manifestation. Manifestation only in consciousness only exists in creation. We're talking about a reality that is and isn't, that has become so. It is already so. And so again, to see that and to recognize that. Yeah, so, it's not about that. It's indifferent to that. And just like the recognition of the isness, in a way, you might say you cannot recognize it. There's no way to do that because it's endless. And so how do you view it? How do you see it? How do you consider it? How do you relate to it? How do you give the hints to it? Well, each person decides that for themselves. That becomes your adventure. But the battle, no. That's physical and astral, like the angels battling for earth and all that. This is all nonsense. The end result is nothing. Cruelty, brutality, it all equals itself. You get nothing from it. Yeah, in no way. It's about your awareness. And where there's no power, there's no power. There's none needed. It's an illusion. It's an all aliveness. It's an isness. This all alive isness. The living part that Paul referred to, the living ekmaster, you see, that's a fallacy. There is no living here, but that's what it refers to. Would you call the inner master the living ekmaster? No, you wouldn't do that. Because it's not about that. People think that this is living. Oh, what lifestyle are you living? That's a phrase, that's an idea, like consciousness, that's in creation, which is fine. It's all fine. But these are created references, and really, what do they reference? What do they really reference? Harold's the living ekmaster. What does that reference? Really, when you look at it, it doesn't reference nothing. And the gods that people proclaim, what do they reference? What do they reference to? When you look at that link, you might say, like we have links in the computer. It goes to nothing. It goes to the reptilians. There's your God. That's why people don't want to see their God. You see, they want to believe and pretend and feel comfortable with their ideas. But to see God, oh, that's scary. Well, to call him God is scary. It's big reptilian. Just like the Orions. They're big, tall reptilians. But they've wised up since the queen has been gone. And so again, battling? No. Life is bigger. You look at the bigger picture. But if people choose to battle, that's their choice. And you have a right to defend yourself, but there's ways to do it, you see, to where you don't have to, you might say, fight back. We're not fighting back at the college. We're having fun, with what these people present to us. And we're actually, in a fun way, we're helping them sort out what they don't understand. That's what we're doing. We're taking the time to do that. That's all. We're not battling them, even if it gets into a lawsuit. It's not bad. People think, oh, it's a lawsuit. You're going to sue Orange Coast College. No, this is just part of our adventure. Okay. And we're promoting them as they're promoting us. And from that, we're going to promote other things because this is what we do. This is just what we do. But it's not a battle. And we're not blowing things up, etc. Just like when people say, well, you're attacking these things you're saying in these groups, Duane, you're attacking. I'm not attacking anybody. I'm not dropping bombs on anyone. I'm providing a reference. That's what I'm doing. Everything is referenced here. You know, it's interesting to note that there is a difference between reference, because there is a reference section in the library. Okay, it refers to certain things. And the actuality of the so-called sacred writings. Now, when we look at the so-called sacred writings that have been proclaimed so, you know, what has been the involvement of these, and it has come from that, these sacred writings? Destruction, prejudice, discrimination, harassment, tyranny, all these things from the sacred writings. Not from what I'm presenting. You know, even the corporation members, you know, again, they see us as evil and weird or the Antichrist or whatever. You know, see what comes from the sacred writings? Oh, you're not following the teachings, Duane, etc. Teachings, you know, like the teachings of Jesus and all these things. That's why I refer to what I'm presenting. It's not a teaching. We don't have classes. We have groups. This is where you grow up. Yeah, so references make a difference, don't they? That's the fun part. And so doing battle, no, I don't see that at all, but each person decides. They want to go into the military and do battle and think that they're saving one country from another through battle. It's through awareness. I see it through awareness. It's a struggle here because people want to do battle because of the world and how brutal it is. They decide to do that. They decide to revolt and rebel. They decide to walk the streets and do demonstrations to the controllers, the people that control them, thinking that they're going to get, the agreement that they want from those that control them. Well, again, it's wake-up time, isn't it? This is why we're here. And so it's a decision. But no, it's always back to your real awareness. And you know, if you just focus on the sun shining every day, just that, okay, because that is what has been decided is the best reference to the is. It's already been decided it's an isness. And just by doing that, you have a relationship there that's real. And to learn to recognize what it's demonstrating. Yeah. Not the ball of fire that's in outer space, but the simulation that's being demonstrated. Very important, like a picture, like the pictures we do with the isness and with that ball of light that represents the isness. And you'll see the difference between what Ava produces, what we decide together, and a picture of just a sunset or the sun. I see the difference. I see the reference because one references the is, the other is just the sun. It's that ball of fire out there. That's that rock on fire. There is a difference. So when I refer to the sun, it's the reality of what's being demonstrated. This is so cool. So this is how it is with our real awareness, Charles. So we don't need to create another battlefield here. Let people do battle. If there's only a few of us, whatever. I'm focusing on the universal community to where, you have to see it, though, that people will stand real with it. And you'll try to imagine what it's like. Well, you can't. Because it's going to be far more than that. But again, it's for those that are the risk takers that step up and decide to be part of it. They'll be shown. And you have to earn your way. You want to earn your way. It's okay. You want to earn your way. Yeah. Yes, that's the best part. This is what I've always liked to do is earn my way. But I've taken on a bigger picture here, so I've struggled with it here personally. But it's okay. I see that. And it's been very hard on me. Very, very hard personally. Yes. But fortunately, there are the others that see it too, and it's all for them. It's all for everyone. It's for everyone. It is for everyone. We all stand real. That's how I see it. We all stand with each other. which is so cool. And this is where each person has that unlimited freedom. They can have that endless recognition for themselves with no ideas in the way. But while we're here, we use references. But we don't need to reference any type of battle or confrontation. The battle is really with the individual. Simply, it's a personal thing. Battles are really personal things, and deciding to recognize, again, like I say, in the restrictions, that's your battle with yourself, to recognize that. How do you figure that out if there's to be a battle? But it's really not. It's really very simple. Children do it all the time. They're so cool. But they also need the recognition. All of us do. That's the best part. So, yes, thank all of you for stepping up. It's all for you. We're all sharing. I learned so much. I learned so much more. Yes, it's very humbling. Pure sincerity is such a great reality, and these are endless universes. They're not attitudes. That's where you limit yourself, thinking that, well, I'm a nice person, whatever. Well, that's fine. But the thing is that to recognize the endless universes that life is, and it's better than that. Even purity and pure sincerity, whatever, it's better than you can even consider. It's even more than that. And so this is by just recognizing that within yourself, and then seeing what's taking place in creation, and taking on the challenge of how to present this in a particular way, not just sitting in the groups and taking it in, but really to, in some way, however it is. And I see the idea of the all-natural environment, that's huge. That relates to the isness, the all is, totally, in its own way, to where eventually, as people just simply recognize that, sure, they're going to think nature. But by the very fact they recognize that, they're making better choices, aren't they? In some way. It's like, oh, I don't want to pollute the air anymore. I don't want to create trash or whatever. You see? It's something, and the world is seeing it. I see it out there. That's why I created Universal Surfers. And then these two surfers created this group called 4 Oceans, where they're cleaning up the oceans, you see? They're doing something. So it's reflecting. It is all reflecting in its own particular way. And eventually it will add up to this universal community, to where this isness is present here. There is no more, in the Bible it's called the firmament. There is no more separation of anything. There doesn't have to be. This has been created in creation, the separation of the so-called levels of life. There doesn't have to be any separation at all. That's what I see. To where it is, you see. And you have everything. And everything is great. Yes. So, but it's through your awareness. And it won't be through any battle, because that only leads to destruction. Look at all the battles that have been going on. You have desolate places. You have desolate planets. And the reptilians here, they will destroy the planet, which they are, to get their way, just like the queen. She doesn't matter how many people she has to destroy to get her way. She will do it. And this is what they're doing. So if people don't obey, they will destroy. And so that's not part of us in any way. Ours is awareness, becoming more aware, recognizing the isness life is. Charles, yes.